we've got some feedback.
Kia ora tātou, nau mai, haere mai, and welcome to our first inaugural meeting of the Rangitāne o Manawatū Committee of Wednesday, the 29th of July 2020. And before I go into some procedural matters, I'd just like to ask Mr. Te Aweawe to start with a karakia, please.
Kia ora koutou, inoa tātou. E tō mātou māti te rangi, kia tapitu ingoa, kia tā mātou rangatiratanga. Kia me te atua pai ai ki rongo te whenua, ki re te anu ki tō te rangi, o mai kia mātou i nai nei. E tarama mātou mo tēnei rā, mura mātou hara. E mātou hoki muru nei, e o te hunga harana kia mātou, o ki mātou e kāwea ki wakawange engari, o ko rangi mātou i te kino, no hoki te rangatiratanga me te kaha me te kōrea, ake ake, amene. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you, Mr. Te Aweawe. I'd now just like to go through that this meeting is being recorded on the Council's website. I'll just explain briefly the health and safety requirements of this facility, the Conference and Function Centre. As you entered, male and female toilets are located on the first floor here of the venue and on the ground floor. This is a non-smoking facility. Exit signs as you came in the green lit signs. There was a first aid kit and a defibrillator on the ground floor foyer as well. Unlike the event of an emergency, please exit through the nearest marked exit door and follow our staff here at the Conference Centre. Look, councillors, for today's inaugural meeting, if you wish to speak, please just signal that by putting your hand up. We have had a few little technical issues today. We'll be voting by voice and hands. And if those online, and I'm unsure if there is anybody online, no, there isn't, thank you. So we'll do that in terms of speaking. And I will now just look to our order of business. And this is around our first order of agenda item is the appointment of the Chair and Deputy Chair for the Rangitāne o Manawatū Committee for 2020. There is a memo there on page 7 of your papers, councillors, and Hannah White, our governance manager, will speak to that. Hannah. Before we do that, I've stuffed this up already. We need Wiramu Te Aweawe to take the council oath first before we go to that first paper. My apologies. So, Mr. Te Aweawe, would you like to take the oath, please?
I, Wiramu Te Aweawe, represent Rangitāne o Manawatū as manu whenua, declaring that I will faithfully and according to the best of my skills and judgment execute and perform in the spirit of the Treaty of Waitangi and in the best interests of Rangitāne and the city, powers, authorities and duties vested in by my tupuna. By virtue of my appointment as a committee member of the Palmerston City Council, always upholding and honouring my rangatira. I'd love to say a few words. Kia ora. Nau mai haere mai te whenua Rangitāne o Manawatū. Te mea, tēnā ko Ihoa.
Kia ora.
Rangatira katoa, Rangitāne, tēnā koutou katoa. It's kua kaupapa au te ara homo koutou e whakaoti. What I've just quoted, and you've heard me quote it several times, is what our tipuna, for us sitting here today, Te Piti Te Aweawe quoted. And he quoted that to his people, that we need to work together. But the key on that kōrero is in love. Big difference in having to work together and love working together. And I think somewhere in the good books it says you've got to bless those that persecute you. I hope I don't have any of that, do we, Chris? We don't want to be persecuted, we want to be on the right side. But it's taken, you've heard me, when we look back in history, when the first mayor, what was his name? Snelson. Okay, Snelson. And there were two men from Rangitāne that were with him making decisions back then, and that was Te Piti Te Aweawe and Honi Meihana Te Rangiotu, known as the Peacemaker, and incidentally the first convert to Christianity in this area. So we've taken a long time to get here. Mr. Mayor, you might say we're doing a marathon, but us Rangitāne have been doing a marathon for the last 178 years. Would that be, is that the right number, Chris? Yeah, okay. But I think it's a great moment for us, but we're working together and walking together. Big difference. And it's great to have Danielle here today too, because she was one of the ones that did a lot of work in our treaty claims. So a big ups to all of you. We look forward to working with you. And it's good to have, well, what is it? On the committee, 6, 3, actually it should be really 7, 4 Māoris and 3 non-Māoris. Would have been a good number. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. E karoria manangongo ki te whenua Whakaro Harie ki ngā tangata katoa Ake ake, ake ake, amine. Te atua, te perenga, tōku oranga, tōku oranga. And for those of you who are watching, in my viewpoint, this is the treaty in action. Look at all the non-Māori singing Māori songs. Isn't that good? Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora and thank you, Wiramu. Before we go to the first report, I just would like to acknowledge the actual committee members of this inaugural Rangitāne o Manawatū committee. And we have Mr. Te Aweawe, Mr. Whaipu, and Danielle Harris for Rangitāne, myself as the Mayor, Councillor Vaughan Dennison, and Councillor Karen Naylor. But I think it's somewhat important that all of our council, or just about all of our council, are here today as well. Very important. And also acknowledge others from Rangitāne that are present as well. Wiramu, Te Piti would be honoured, absolutely honoured that you're around the table with us now. And quite a monumental day, really, in terms of a joint committee which will discuss not only Te Potoa, but all other things around places of significance for Rangitāne as we go forward. So I really do look forward to the work that we can do collectively together. So it is fantastic to have you here at the table. So we now go to our first paper, page 7, and I invite the governance manager, Hannah White to just speak to that, please.
I'd just like to acknowledge Mr. Te Aweawe's oath and the karakia and mihi in leading us in the kaupapa today. It's wonderful to be here together to contribute to today. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. The first report that we have before us just covers several procedural matters that we need to cover today to proceed with the committee business. And that is, of course, the appointment of a chairperson. We have two documents which govern the processes around this committee, the Local Government Act, of course, but also Te Kawanata in relation to Te Motu o Pōtua. The Kawanata sets out what a partnership model might look like in this particular space, and that although our usual local government processes would be that the Mayor has the right to appoint the committees and the chairs of those committees, in this space what we'd like to do is for the committee to make a recommendation themselves for who the chair and the deputy chair might be, and for that recommendation to be taken to council. So you'll see that in the report set out before you that the recommendation is that for 2020, Wiremu Te Aweawe is appointed as chair and that Mayor Grant Smith to the deputy chair.
Thank you, Hannah. And you have the papers there, page 7, 8 and 9. I'll take them as being read. Thank you, Councillor Jennison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendations that are in the order paper as a block 1, 2 and 3 that Wiremu Te Aweawe is chair for this committee meeting today, and the following being recommendations to council that Wiremu Te Aweawe be the chair of Rangitāne o Manawatū committee for 2020, and that we appoint you, Mr. Mayor, as the deputy chair for the committee for 2020.
Thank you, Councillor, and that is seconded by Councillor Naylor. I'll put. Is there any further comments? I'd just like to say I thank you for the recommendation, and we'll now put it to the vote. So we'll do it with a show of hands and voice. All those in favour? Aye. Against? That's carried. I now will pass it over to Mr. Te Aweawe as the inaugural chair of the Rangitāne o Manawatū committee.
This is going to feel good. Thank you, Deputy. First and foremost, do we have any apologies? No? Good. Any additional items? No? Declaration of interest. Naming of the committee. It's on page 11 for those of you who have